Not today! I'm protecting this body!
In this video, I'm going to be covering the benefits of flaxseed for the immune system. So it's a flaxseed meal. There are these crackers over at Aldi. If you like shopping at Aldi, they're made of with a flaxseed meal, as well with other stuff like almonds. Almonds have a phytic acid, and phytic acid is anti-cancer. So I recommend you try out those flaxseed crackers at Aldi. Okay, flaxseed can also have a massive impact at the chromatin level because the DNA is inside the chromatin. And the way flaxseed helps with that is by reducing Tregs. So basically, Tregs, they soak up the IL-2 via CD25 on the Treg. And that what that ends up doing is that not only is the IL-2 removed from the environment by the Treg, but in effector T cells, STAT5 signaling also ends up going down. Now, that's not good because STAT3 also antagonizes STAT5 at the chromatin level and then closes and shuts chromatin, and then the T cells are actually disabled and exhausted. Okay, so now I'm going to be talking about STAT3, STAT3. So it's activated by IL-6, and STAT3 is strongly linked to chronic inflammation, tumor progression, and immune suppression. Okay, this is where IL-2 has an effect, and that is because STAT3 and STAT5, they both compete for a similar DNA binding motifs. Okay, now the problem with reducing STAT5 or STAT5 going down because of IL-2, and this is worst if STAT3 is high, or STAT3, is that if that imbalance happens, what ends up happening is that this increases a greater tumor aggressiveness in some cancers. Okay, so the problem with STAT5 reduction in T cells is that, so along with lower IL-2, um, there is also increased potential for autoimmunity if STAT3 is also high, or STAT3. So autoimmunity, that's basically where the healthy bodily tissues are being attacked by excessive T cells. Okay, so another issue with a STAT3 or high STAT3 in the environment, and with reduction in a STAT5, the reduction in STAT5 could possibly be due to not including healthy foods, including fruits that boost STAT5 or support STAT5. So without those foods, that will lead to impaired immune regulation, along with worsened oncogenic signaling. So basically, that means that oncogene signals will interact with and boost and support cancer. So oncogenes are basically cancer genes. Flaxseed meal can actually interfere here, but it's mostly preclinical, even though it seems rather promising. So there could be limited data on if this works in humans or not. Okay, so flaxseed has this lignin type called Enterolactone, and this actually inhibits STAT3 as well as inhibiting NFKB. If NFKB is ongoing, especially because of CD27, CD70 axis, as I've talked a lot about that in a lot of my other videos, if NFKB is ongoing, that will eventually lead to the reduction of STAT5 as well as exhausted T cells at chromatin. But that's even worse if STAT3 is higher. and a stat 5 is lower since they both compete at chromatin. And if a stat 3 is higher, then that's going to close chromatin and further keep the T cells exhausted. Okay, this is how a flaxseed keeps stat levels or stat 5 levels higher to weaken tumor aggression, is that a flaxseeds and enterolactone is that it lowers FOXP3 stability. As a result, CD25 expression on Tregs also goes down. So that means that Tregs will not have CD25 to steal IL-2 away from T cells. Therefore, higher IL-2 means that STAT5 will not go down, since low IL-2 uh, also lowers or reduces STAT5. Okay, there are these tight junction proteins in the gut and the stomach, and those proteins have to be tight, and they are called clodins, ocloudin, and also zonula, or a ZO1 and ZO2. Now, there are problems and issues associated with the loose, tight junction proteins, which I'll have to cover in another video, but I will cover some right now. And one of them is increased diffusion of antigens and endotoxins. Now, antigens have to do with cancer and tumors. Okay, now here's the problem with loose, tight junctions, and if the issue isn't fixed, it can lead to a cascade of a whole bunch of other problems. Is that so basically water-soluble vitamins, they need transporters to be able to be absorbed and processed. And each one, they use their own specific transporter. Like, for example, vitamin C uses SVCT, folate B9 uses PCFT. So the problem with the loose junction proteins is that there will be a decreased net absorption of those water-soluble vitamins because of a downregulation in the transporter of each water-soluble vitamin due to loose junction proteins in the gut. Okay, so that means that there's going to be vitamin deficiencies. Like, for example, if there's a vitamin C deficiency because of the loose junction proteins, then iron is not going to be absorbed very well, or will not be in the form that it has to be in. And that's not good because iron is critical for vitamin B12 to be able to work, which is a whole different sequence for a different video. So if iron is deficient because of tight junction proteins like occludin, claudin, and zonula are loose in the gut, then iron will be deficient, leading to hypoxia. Hypoxia means that cancer cells and tumors will survive in low oxygen states or environments because the red blood cells are not getting the iron to deliver the oxygen around the body, because the vitamin C transporter is dysfunctional or downregulated because of tight junction proteins being loose in the gut. Okay, but there's good news. Enterolactone and flaxseed can protect epithelial barrier integrity after inflammatory insults. Also helps maintain tighter junctions, the ones that I explained earlier, claudins and occludin, protecting the transporters for vitamins and preventing vitamin deficiencies. Also, some other flax bioactives, including enterolactone, increases those gut junction proteins and gut epithelial cells, even if they are exposed to inflammatory stress. So this goes to show that flax seeds with enterolactone supports a barrier tightness to prevent a vitamin deficiency. So that's it for the video. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Keep it locked in here on this channel for future videos because I have many more coming, and I'll see you in the next video.